Hey there, this is going to be a reading for Aries for February 2026. I hope you find something in here that's helpful for you. It seems like you're ready to level up in some way. I think that is yours. Wow, very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and get a clarifier for your advice because that might help me with the direction of where we're headed. I think I have an idea actually, but okay. Yeah, so I think maybe the first thing that really comes through is that like you're exactly where you need to be. Even if things feel very difficult or overwhelming, there's a lot of like reassurance here that everything that you're feeling is okay and that it's part of your next level. It's don't necessarily know like particularly what it's going to be that you have to like make peace with just yet. But I sort of get the sense that like in order to be the kind of person that you want to be, who's very like accomplished but also very caring and compassionate with people, it's almost like you have to have the experience of being very low in order to be a leader for other people and to be a leader for yourself going down the road. So it's like a necessary building block for who you need to become. These tough experiences, that is, that you've been working through. But I think the essential message is that you go ahead and like take things slow, really like find your breath, kind of become aware when like your load is becoming overwhelming. The things that you're carrying with you, or the feeling of responsibility, like becoming like very unclear. And I guess to say like it feels like in your conscious world you have the Ten of Wands here. This is sort of just the awareness of when you have too much on your plate. That seems to be, I don't get like a heavy feeling from like, it seems like your awareness, like, yeah, I have too much going on. Like that's there. It's a different story when you have too much on your plate and you're not even aware. Like where it feels like you truly do have to do everything. It feels like you're at least aware. It's like, all right, no, I really can't do that. I can't do everything that is asking for my attention right now. and that's good, and that's the helpful awareness to lead you to your next step. But at the heart of the reading, you have the Knight of Pentacles. So this really feels like it's speaking to your physical body in particular, feeling strong in and of yourself. And I think to accompany this energy, there's the idea of like an uncluttered mind. So this is kind of the form, the embodiment that you're moving into. It's like you may have felt like in some sort of way you've been crafting your ideal life experience in your mind, or you've been like trying a bunch of new things so that you can feel the way that you want to feel. But this to me feels like the realization that you already are what you want to be, what you want to feel. It's like you kind of need to allow that, and to maybe shift from extra activity, a whole bunch of doing. Let me tone down this incense a bit. Now that I think about it, there's a lot of fiery energy here of like trying to do a lot of things, but it could be a time to just slow down and take stock of what you have. Sometimes, I guess an image that comes to mind is like thinking that you don't have any food, for instance, like, oh, I got to go to the grocery store, and then you think of all the things that will make you happy at the grocery store, like, your favorite like pizza or desserts or whatever it is that you buy that like is exciting, but like, all right, well, that maybe is accompanied by a little bit of guilt, or but if you open up your cupboard and you just slow down, you let those thoughts pass by, you open up your cupboard and you see, like, actually I have plenty of easy foods to prepare for me that are good for my health, that will make me feel good in a different way. It's like if you can let those first waves of sort of anxious, attached thinking go by, you'll find that you do settle back into yourself. It's just allowing the patience to watch them go by. So again, yeah, it's a time where you're invited to come home to your body. That's the strongest impression I get from this so far. And I think at a deep level, maybe the reason that you're aware of how overfull your plate is right now with responsibility or activity or whatever, I think you're aware of it because you've reached some sort of milestone in your life, or are feeling in a deep way that you've leveled up in some way. The Four of Wands here feels like there's some sort of like integral structure in you that feels more fortified, more solid, that's not as prone to disastrous thinking, not prone to being let down by other people even necessarily. This feels like a deeper feeling of being happy with who you are just because you are who you are. It feels like it's like you earned it, but you didn't have to earn it either. Just because you're here, that means you're enough. And it feels like maybe in some ways you're embracing more and more of yourself. You're able to incorporate more and more experience without having to project into the future of who you need to be. It's like, all right, well, you can settle into who you are now, what your values are now, and just start living those things. You don't have to compete or like do a whole bunch extra to find your place of happiness. You can just be happy. Yeah, and I think your challenge for the month is the world. So this is kind of like allowing that chapter, a chapter of life to end, and whatever intuitively that feels like for you. It could just be like feeling like you're ready for something new because kind of the patterns of your life as they are now have worn out their welcome. You're ready to let go and feel big and like part of the world again, to not feel separate from the world again. Let me see if there's any clarification. for the world card in your challenge? Is there any clarification for the world? Maybe. Let's see. Close, yeah. Yeah, it might be sort of like the uncomfortable time of like knowing exactly what would be good for you, like eating your vegetables. I don't know why vegetables is coming through as like such a theme for this. Like when I was thinking about like what food you might have in your pantry that would nourish you and that you have immediately at hand, you wouldn't have to go to the store for. I was thinking like canned vegetables, like something easy that's, you know, like a first step into like nourishing yourself again. And I think maybe what the challenge right now is that you are called to like a higher experience, like something that is just more healthy for you, but is maybe a little bit more boring, or what has felt like a little bit more like a chore. So I think as part of this world, you know, this chapter ending, that's the challenge. I think now it's almost like you have to move into the time where you do the things that you know are going to be good for you. So like going to even like maybe meetings with people who like you don't want to go to those meetings. Like those meetings don't sound exciting, but at the meetings they're going to be talking about like spiritual subjects or maybe even classes or something that help you reconnect with your body, or some sort of like higher minded experience with other people that would just be good for you, that maybe you would have avoided in the past, kind of thinking that, oh, I got what I need, you know. And I don't think this is wrong, but this feels like an invitation to me to like sort of get a little bit more serious with your spiritual life as well. It's like if you've kind of been in the grind for a while, like feeling very like disconnected from a higher power or an organization to the world, or a feeling of comfort even in just your living experience, it feels like maybe it is a time to reconnect or to try to connect with the deeper power. And I think a lot of that will come from just like slowing down, like again, to bring it back to the core of your reading, slowing down, becoming more quiet, because that's the place you want to move from. That quiet place is what's going to allow you to, like, you know, be the more adult version of yourself than maybe you felt like you could be, because, you know, you needed to feel like special and unique and strong, which is, yeah, that there's a time and place, and you should always, that should be your experience. But sometimes the reality is that we haven't been behaving in ways that are quite so strong or helpful to ourselves as we like to believe. So this kind of feels like maybe it's a waking up moment. And I don't think that it even needs to be so much of a challenge, but just like something to clue you in that there's a new chapter starting, and you can trust yourself to be a little bit more bored right now, and know that like it will pay off for you soon. Like there will be some realization or some deeper experience of life that will make this worth it. And it seems like you, like, even if you've resisted that recently, up until recently, like you're more primed for it, you're more ready. In your advice, you know, for the upcoming month, it was interesting. You have the King of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles, two sort of almost opposite energies, really. One of, you know, sort of desperation, lack mentality, not enough resources to go around, not enough to do what it is that you want to do, paired with an energy that has all of the resources that it needs, realizes that it needs only a simple, like it kind of feels like the contrast is saying that, like, maybe you had the impression that you needed way more in order to be okay, but deep down, or you're starting to realize, like, you don't need nearly as much as you thought, and the things that you do need, you already have. And like the things that will truly light up your life is when you give those the attention, the simple things. So, taking care of your body, simple foods, simple purchases, taking care of your financial matters, like simplifying so that you feel like the king who is in control of your experience. That's my impression so far. And so maybe the Five of Pentacles might be here as a reminder to have compassion for yourself, for maybe having made like financial decisions that aren't wise, or behaving in ways that maybe even like addictive ways or pattern behavior that continues to put you in a tough spot. I think maybe that's here in your advice to just remind you that you were doing the best that you could with what you had, and that person, you can still bring that version of you along for the ride, but that version just doesn't lead your day anymore. That energy doesn't control you. So if you can recognize it, imagine a generous, kingly aspect of yourself offering its riches to this energy. And I think that both of those things are here because you have the temperance as a clarifier as well, sort of allowing the negative experiences or what has been difficult to be like transmuted into something that is very positive, without pushing it away, without pretending it didn't happen, or trying to pretend that that's not a part of what your experience has been. It's in a lot of ways becoming aware of how you felt in a state of lack will highlight for you how much you actually have and allow you to wisely use those resources. Begin to create new patterns for yourself, because the emphasis here is that you don't have to continue in the ways that you've continued to get to this point. Like, you can chart a new path, and that's what you are doing. It's like you're ready to veer off and accept that the future is bright. There's a lot of yellow in this reading. The future is bright. And to further highlight that, the Hanged Man is here to clarify your advice, to remind you that you can look at things different, and that can actually be very exciting. There doesn't have to be a pressure behind it to change yourself. This new perspective, all of these rays of sunshine that are coming through, that feels like the excitement that you can allow to lead you forward. There's a lot of brightness, and so I would just encourage you to allow yourself to be excited about trying something new, even if it feels like you are starting from the beginning in some way. Just tilling the fields, getting the simple resources that you have available ready to produce more for you, but not rushing it, just putting in the preparatory groundwork for your success. So this is a big, strong energy for you right now, to become grounded, to feel back into your body, to do wise things that honor your body, to disallow the mind from catching you with every thought. It's like, oh, I could go do that. I could go eat this food. I could go, like, just recognizing when that bouncing is happening. It's just like, all right, let me just wait a minute, feel back in. What is my body actually asking for? Good sleep might come into this too. It's like, what could you do for yourself to improve sleep? So I think that's it for like the more diagnostic part of this reading, where I'm just kind of rattling off things that you might try experimenting with. But I think you'll be able to feel much more in your core what it is that you need. But to kind of highlight some of the essential energies and messages from this reading that you want to carry forward with you. I'm going to go ahead and draw a few oracle cards for you, and hopefully you'll have some good takeaways from this as well. This is for Aries. All right, awesome. So your oracles for February are healing, the rebel, and awareness. My feeling is that by sort of allowing a slower experience to actually feel your feelings, to explore what it is that your body needs, to get down to basics again in your experience, those things will be your rebellious act. Those will be the things that allow you to break the patterns that have felt like they've been holding you, burdening you for quite some time. This awareness, like there is a part of you that the truer part of you feels like it can't stand but to it has to emerge right now. It just feels like the right time. It feels like you've called for help, you've asked for help, and now you're letting that help actually come through. The true you, in some sort of way, is coming to the surface, almost like you're thawing out in some sort of way. Whereas, like, man, you're kind of paralyzed from just overwhelm. I think that's changing. So I'm going to go ahead and read from the guidebook on these for you. Healing. It is a time when the deeply buried wounds of the past are coming to the surface, ready and available to be healed. The figure in this card is naked, vulnerable, open to the loving touch of existence. The aura around his body is full of light, and the quality of relaxation, caring, and love that surrounds him is dissolving his struggle and his suffering. Lotuses of light appear on his physical body and around the subtle energy bodies that healers say surround each of us. In each of these subtle layers appears a healing crystal or pattern. When we are under the healing influence of the King of Water, we're no longer hiding from ourselves or from others. In this attitude of openness and acceptance, we can be healed and help others also to be healthy and whole. Now we've got the rebel. The powerful and authoritative figure in this card is clearly the master of his own destiny. On his shoulder is an emblem of the sun, and the torch he holds in his right hand symbolizes the light of his own hard-won truth. Whether he is wealthy or poor, the rebel is really an emperor because he has broken the chains of society's repressive conditioning and opinions. He has formed himself by embracing all the colors of the rainbow, emerging from the dark and formless roots of his unconscious past, and growing wings to fly into the sky. His very way of being is rebellious, not because he's fighting against anybody or anything, but because he's discovered his own true nature and is determined to live in accordance with it. The eagle is his spirit animal, a messenger between earth and sky. The rebel challenges us to be courageous enough to take responsibility for who we are and to live our truth. And finally, we've got awareness. The veil of illusion or Maya that has been keeping you from perceiving reality as it is starting to burn away. The fire is not the heated fire of passion, but the cool flame of awareness. As it burns the veil, the face of a very delicate and childlike Buddha becomes visible. The awareness that is growing in you now is not the result of any conscious doing, nor do you need to struggle to make something happen. Any sense you might have had that you've been groping in the dark is dissolving now, or will be dissolving soon. Let yourself settle, and remember that deep inside you are just a witness, eternally silent, aware, and unchanged. A channel is now opening from the circumference of activity to that center of witnessing. It will help you to become detached, and a new awareness will lift the veil from your eyes. Well, I think that pretty well summarizes your reading so far. So I wish you a lot of power in the remaining weeks of February, and I will talk to you again soon. I hope this helped you. Take care.